La Neta Que Conecta at the Global Latin Factor presentation.
We're starting already, by the way. Bienvenidos. Welcome to La Neta Que Conecta. Okay, for the ones that never heard La Neta Que Conecta, or what is it? It's just a different variation of the content that we usually do. And it entails having previous guests of mine that I feel are amazing. They have amazing things going on. Today, we have a very neat treat. We have Stephanie Joanette, social media marketing, content creator, almost like borderline prepper. Plant mom, chick mom nowadays. And we also have Christian Rocha, marketing strategist, consultant for Hispanos Marketing y Contratistas Latinos USA. And he does a whole lot more with education regarding marketing and more. Right. Hola, bienvenidos.
Hola.
Hola. Thank you for having us.
Once again, thank you so much for doing this. This is different. I want to be more chill. I think sometimes I feel like the suit and everything else, the setting is like, oh my God, it's like so intense. Yeah. But this is more chill. So first of all, I do want to ask you, do you had any kind of feedback regarding your interviews? Anybody that reached out to y'all as far as what they thought about your episode? Let's go with the lady first.
Yeah, I had quite a few people reach out. Some people that I just met in that time that were in my orbit reached out like, Steph, I had no idea that this happened to, your daughter and you're really strong. Thank you for inspiring me. This also happened to me. I had about 3 different people tell me, they've gone through similar situations. They've never talked about it to anybody. Yeah. So it gave them a chance to kind of like vent with me, and it was stemmed from the interview.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I don't know how many people watched it, but there is a lot of people. The people that did watch it paid attention, and then I got some good.
It's feedback. Like almost 300 views and going still to this day.
That's awesome. Yes. 300.
Yeah. That's awesome.
For our podcast and it's freaking beautiful. Yeah. By the way, thank you.
Hey,
every single subscribe, por favor, because every single viewer. Yeah. How about yourself, Christian?
Do we get a percentage of the ad revenue?
What happened was we're still working on that part.
Gotcha.
It's in the near future.
Yeah.
We'll cut checks. But not yet.
Yeah. No, it was a good opportunity, man. I think for me, when we had the convo beforehand, I think the idea behind it, I wanted the takeaway to be something where it's like people or whoever saw it kind of got something out of it. And I think we got a little bit, it was more of like a mellow, a situation that helped me really connect with myself. But it was an overall good experience, man. I think I got a lot of feedback from my mom. She's like, mijo, salieron las noticias. I'm like, Mom, it's not the noticias. It's the global Latin factor, but it's getting there. Yeah, it's casi como Telemundo. But yeah, I got a lot of positive feedback, man. A lot of people, they were just admiring the quality, bro. Everything that you do is just top notch. And I want to congratulate you for that, because se ve el trabajo, bro, que haces aquí. And it was awesome, man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. By the way, I don't know if you know his episode. This man used to be homeless for a little bit. Yeah. He had it tough. And to have his own company and not only that, but now educating and empowering other Latinos to do as far as marketing, which is such a huge thing to be able to help them out and grow. It's amazing. And then her story too, she shared a little bit about things that happen that normally we don't like to talk about in our Hispanic community, like SA that happens in the families, and sometimes it's tough. But she had a lot of courage to be able to share some of the things that had happened. And it's great that a few people were encouraged enough to be able to reach out to you, be like, you know what? Yeah, this impacted me. This did happen to me, because sometimes it's hard to admit, like, oh man, I was in the situation that this has happened to me, and process that and try to get some help, So awesome.
Yeah. Thank you for the good questions that stimulated, people's minds and challenges you to answer things that people don't normally ask you on a day-to-day basis. So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So overall, you experience
a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10 for sure. 10 out of 10.
You hear that?
Hey, slide me that $20 bill.
Hey, split it with me.
10.
Cash up.
Nah, it was 10 out of 10, man. Yeah.
Cash up. Okay, let's talk about a little bit of some cheese, man. In y'all's life, first of all. You be getting into some very interesting thing. I'm curious about what you're doing recently in life. You're being I think you're building like a chicken coop. You're learning how to plant. You've been planting for a long time, plants and everything. Yeah. How did that get started for you? And why do you want to do things like that nowadays?
Well, I don't know. This is corny, but I'm born on the first day of spring. So always say I'm Persephone. She's the queen of darkness, but also comes to life and makes spring and summer and just brings all, like, when she's back on her, like, she puts all the, life back on her, like fruits, trees, flowers. Anyway, so, I mean, that's corny, but, like, I always think about that. Like, that's my favorite Greek mythology. And then I also have some friends that have learned about plants. So, like, I get hyper fixated on something and I just want to learn. And I learn everything that I can about it until, like, I'm like, okay, now I'm good. This is going in my life. So with the plants, I had plants for about 4 years. I've now converted into growing herbs. And once I, become successful at that, and I want to start planting fruits and vegetables. But my daughter one day came to me. She's like, hey, my manager wants to know if you want some chickens. I was like, chickens? Like, what? Like chickens? And she's like, yeah, she wants to give me some. And then I was like, okay. And so I committed to it. And then I had to do my research, and they need a chicken run, and they need covering and a coop and a nesting box and a place called a rooster to go poop. And I am so ignorant to all of this. So anyway, I just started learning, and I've turned my backyard, which my backyard has a whole story as it is, but I've turned that now into like a garden area, a chicken area, and I just got my baby chickens yesterday.
So people think that you can just literally go to the store wherever they sell the grass chickens and that's it, and let them loose, and it's like
you could, but they're gonna die.
They're gonna die.
There's predators, hawks, foxes, cats, dogs, like lice. Like there's just so much, like what you got to feed them, and the laying egg, which I haven't experienced that yet, but just the research that I've done. But yeah, I don't know why. I'm just living my life kind of slowly these days. I was on the, hustle and grind every single day. And where I'm at in life, like, I don't want to be someone, I firmly believe, like, I don't want to live, like, and say, like, oh, I wish I had that. Like, I just want to live my life and wake up and be content in the morning and have my coffee and just, be satisfied where I'm at and having peace. And that comes with hobbies that just kind of like, you know. And
that's pretty cool though. You have
chickens.
Fun. You have chickens.
And I have cilantro.
You have cilantro. You have freaking.
And we know where to go now that the eggs are like $20 for a dozen. We know.
Come on. That's my plan. I bought a stamp. I want to give away eggs and herbs to my friends. It's just like, here you go.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so come over. You can have some eggs.
Yeah. All the algorithm has been popping up with chicken stuff and this and that. Every time I see it, because I know she's going through it, I send her the video of like feed them this or do this, or you can make your own little out of like a cardboard box, not cardboard, but like a crate or something. Create something for your chickens or something. Like, that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Cool. Dude, what you been up to recently? What's the chisme with you? Mr. Rocha was a single gentleman when he joined a podcast, but I don't want to take too much into you.
Don't expose me, bro. Nah, what?
Well, my question was mostly is like, being somebody that's entrepreneur and being in a relationship, a lot of the time it requires a lot of time, right? So how are you managing that balance for yourself?
It's tough. I think back to a little bit of what you touched on when I used to live out of my car. I've been living on my own since I was 18 years old. So for me, I won't say how old I am. I think that's how you know I'm old. You get to a certain age, you don't want to say it anymore.
You must be 36.
Casi. But when I was 18, that's kind of when I was living on my own for a very long time. So from 18 till now, my journey has been solo, the grind, like you said, getting things done on a mission. And I think the mindset of go and being on survival mode, it's kind of something that I gotten used to. So it becomes a challenge when you want to open up to opportunities or friendships and relationships, because you're just kind of like, well, you kind of almost feel like you don't have time for it, which it's still an area that I'm working on, because I love being in a relationship, and I love the relationships that I've built, even with friendships. But I think finding that balance for me has been a challenge. But I'm working on it, and I think it's been great. I think what I've done now differently, it's kind of going back to what you said, finding some time to reset, and then just kind of doing the things that you really enjoy doing, that you find passion behind, because it's not always about making a sale. At least that's what I've learned. When you find the passion or your why behind why you do things, I think it helps you do it and enjoy it a lot more. And I think with what I do specifically, it's more so, okay, yeah, I do have to get my bills paid, so I have to make the sale. But in the process, am I helping someone, or am I changing someone's life, or am I impacting someone in a positive way? So it's finding the balance and finding my why and the purpose behind why I do what I do.
I mean, that bank, I think, is super crucial to be able to feel as well, right? Be able to feel good, to be able to provide a service knowing that you are helping somebody and just make a difference in the world, not just for the bottom line, the bottom dollar, you know?
And I think it's something that's instilled within us as Latinos. I think it's part of our values too. Like, you know, I think the majority of us had our parents say like, you know, like, échale la mano a alguien, you know, or like, échale ganas, or help people that are in need. So I think it kind of always speaks to the core values, and like helping people is gratifying. You're just like, okay, you know, my parents will be proud.
I recently, 2-3 months ago, started seeing a counselor, VA. So she's been helping me a lot with figuring things out. I know that you say you're working on certain things. Is it a counselor or just certain things that you're doing for yourself, self-help, to try to like, help you with that part?
And I did consider it. I think as Hispanics, it's not something that's so normalized. And I think there's still kind of like a tug between, do I really need it? You know, it's $100 an hour, but, you know, should I go? Should I not? But I think it's something that I definitely have been considering a lot more, because it helps, man. They're doctors. That's what they're supposed to do. It's help you navigate the toughest situations that you go through in life. And but I think, like I said, going back to the survival instinct of like, nah, I don't need it. Like, I'll just keep going, and you kind of seclude yourself. At least for me, that's kind of what almost kind of keeps me numb to the reality of what goes on sometimes. But it's not healthy. So I think, for sure, I've considered it, and I did see in the last podcast that you mentioned it too. I was gonna ask you, man, like, do they offer like a family discount, bro? I met them and say I'm your cousin, bro.
So I'm a veteran, so through the VA, I was able to get, so I don't have to pay.
That's awesome.
As long as I have the time, I get to talk to her, and I feel like not only I learn from me, but learn how to maneuver around the world and learn how people do certain things or things like that, and be like, it's been like crazy, like the things that I learned from her, just in general, about myself,
about yourself,
and about in general how people work, and you know, not to take it to the heart sometimes, or why would somebody do certain things like that because of whatever reason, you know. So it's been helping me a lot. Like, just I like going to her and talking to her, and just know that I'm a safe space, regardless if I'm Mexicano. I don't give a damn. I need help.
What's one thing that sticks out to you that you learned that you can share with us? Okay,
so check it out. And just in conversation after almost we were finishing that session, she was telling me about ladies in Vietnam back in the days. They lost their sight, and they lost their sight because of the war that was happening, right? So the fields are full with blood and, you know, bodies and stuff like that. So literally, the ladies went blind, their brain protecting them from seeing that stuff. So that means to me, whenever she was talking to me, like literally things can physically manifest in you. Traumas can literally manifest. There's people that lose like smell. There's people that lose touch because of those traumas. And you never realize that that's a possibility. If maybe for whatever reason you don't feel a certain thing, you don't smell whatever, maybe something happened to you when you were growing up, and all of a sudden it manifested it in physical form. And that to me was just one of the things that I learned. I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. The power of the mind.
The power of the mind. How it wants to protect you, and he does things like that.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I learned the opposite going through like federal or forensic counseling. And one of those things is called trigger memories, when you smell something or see something, because your brain blocks it out. But like for me, I smelled Irish Spring one day and like freaked out, and going through that therapy with the forensic people, and they're asking like all these like intrusive questions, like I figured out stuff that happened to me from remembering when I was 6 years old that helped the case that we were going through. But like, that's so crazy, because it can work both ways. Like your brain can suppress it, but then like your body can also naturally develop something so you don't see it it was so bad that, you know.
In the same conversation, was talking about the lady couldn't use a stove for a long time because something had happened. So she couldn't use it for the same reason, because anytime she saw a stove and things that happened with her, she just couldn't use it for years.
Oh my gosh.
Before she was able to use it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it does those things. Those smells all of a sudden, like, oh, why am I feeling this way? What's going on?
Yeah.
Those things, like, somewhere in your mind. And then if you don't start processing the reason why is it familiar to me, like you figure out, 6 years old, this happened. All of a sudden, like, start realizing, why am I feeling this way whenever I'm hearing something or feeling something or whatever? Oh, now it makes sense, right?
Or sometimes even like, for example, like an observation that I made within myself is like, asking myself the questions like why it is that I am a certain type of way, whether it's like, maybe I'm like impulsive, or just asking those questions internally. What I went to study was psychology. I pretty much I wanted to become a psychologist, but for me, it wasn't so much helping people. I mean, it sounds bad. I did want to help people, but I think for me, it was trying to help myself and understand why I felt the way that I felt. But through that journey, I kind of, when I was close to like pretty much going to the next step in my degree, it's more of like, I kind of almost got scared because you start observing patterns within your character and within yourself that tie into a theory in psychology. And then you start understanding like, okay, maybe this is why I react a certain type of way, or maybe this is why, like you said, certain things trigger me, and for me at that moment in time was a scary feeling. But I think as now that I get older and I'm a little bit more mature, I'd like to say, my girlfriend probably wouldn't agree. She'd be like, "Parece niño este." But I think now that I'm getting older, I'm kind of looking back on those things and I'm like, okay, maybe those are things that need to be addressed and assessed. And like you said, talk to someone about it.
Who wants to go back in time and mind and think about those things that didn't make you feel good at all? You know what I mean? So it's not really comfortable sometimes. So that's why I feel like some people don't want to, do that. But I think it's crucial for you to grow past that. You done a lot of healing and do a lot of different things to help you keep your mind at ease and everything else. What can you recommend Christian over here that can kind of help you a little
therapy
bit?
Session.
I smoke weed every day.
Oh no!
If you can't do that, I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, everybody to each his own.
Yeah,
Everyone's healing.
Yeah.
Like I have this saying that sticks in my head. What is chaos to a fly is normal to a spider. And we all heal differently. We all take it in differently, perceive it differently. Just what's helped me has been marijuana. My children, of course, like talking to them, picking their mind, and getting hyper fixated on shit, and just like, I don't know, and reading a lot. Reading has helped me just kind of, calm down, and I don't know. And like you said earlier, I seclude myself a lot. Just because I feel like I'm a plasma ball, like I feel everything, and sometimes things could be too much for me. So I just like go in my cave and like focus and do what I need to do, and just brings me peace.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I think that's my cop out too, I think, in a way where it's like I don't want to experience what I'm experiencing as far as like frustration, stress, or like a sad emotion, that I just get to work. And I'm like on the computer for like 10, 12 hours,
Think you find it therapeutic for you whenever you do that, and then productive at the same time?
Yeah, to me it does, because like I said, it kind of almost takes me back to the point in time where I was kind of figuring things life. And I think there's a certain power behind always finding a solution to a problem. And it's one of the things that my dad used to always tell me, para todo hay solución, and I think for me, going back to that place of like, hey, we're going to figure this out and we're going to see what's the way. I think it kind of provides some type of peace and relief that I have the circumstance under control. Because if I didn't, then I'd be stressing. I'd be like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So for me, it is therapeutic. I do things like, go to church and go to the gym and stuff, which I think are also helpful.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it's definitely part of it.
That's cool. All right, let's get to some cheese mess in the celebrity world. I don't know if y'all know this, but Salma Hayek just graced the cover of 2025 Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition at the age of 58. And she does not look 58.
I don't know. I haven't seen that edition, bro.
I highly recommend just to glance through it. I'm sorry, girlfriend.
That's crazy.
My thought is like, at 58, bro, she looks like 25. And I'm like, is it our genetics? Is it like, what is it that just, because you got J-Lo too, I'm like, is it something else? What are your thoughts? And okay, first of all, for you as a lady, I want to say is like, how do you feel about girls being in Sports Illustrated in general, women?
I mean, I don't think twice about it. If they want to be on it, cool. Like I don't care if you want to show your body, by all means. I mean, if I had a body like that, I would show it off too.
I would too.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Why not?
I have to work for you. I always got to do this.
That's crazy.
Oh, what about in general? Just like 58 years old and it still looks like. You think he's like, just because she has the resources, the money to be able to have a top tier diet, top tier trainers, and everything else, or we said a little bit of genetics to me in.
I mean,
combination,
yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely. If you have good genetics and you're nourishing that, you're going to look your best. And she has the resources. And I mean, she's been beautiful since, she's a beautiful woman. Like,
since, what was that movie we went to? Desperado. Yeah.
I think it's a combination. And I mean, I've always heard the saying, if you feel young, you look young. So I think it's a combination of like within ourselves, that positive, optimistic perspective of like, hey, todavía tenemos la energía, we got that energy, but also, I mean, genetics too, and she got some money, bro.
Yeah.
Whenever your girl is telling you being a kid, tell them you're just trying to stay young.
That's it. That's my cop out.
Trying to stay young.
Trying to be like Sam Hayek.
Yeah, just trying to be like William Levy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh God, he is so funny. I love him.
Hey, that's what they
he's
say.
He's up there too, también, bro.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That's my nickname out there.
William Levy.
That's what I heard. I don't know.
Who?
I don't know, man.
Is it the dark hair?
Probably. Hey, nobody calls me that.
You're laughing way too hard, girl.
I know. Whoa.
No, just laughing.
He's like, yeah, right. This guy.
Anyways, if you have not seen Salma Hayek's cover,
I'll Google it later.
It's freaking crazy. Again, it's amazing. To each their own. I mean, again, if I put myself out there for a couple of $1 million, I'm not shaming it. It is what it is, and she looks beautiful in general. And I never talked to her in general, but it seems when she carries herself, I don't think I've ever seen a lot of videos that like she's like too stuck up. I don't want to talk to her. She seems fairly grounded, that you can have a genuine conversation with her. I don't know her, but she seems like it.
Yeah,
so that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I think that also comes through on the camera and in general whenever that you're a good person. Because if you're not, I think sometimes you can kind of start like, something's wrong.
It's because certain people have that charisma. I think certain people have that charisma of like, you see them and they're just likable people, And I think some people are natural.
Is that you, William Levy?
Hey, you tell me.
That was funny.
You have that. You have that. You have.
You okay, bro? I don't get it. Well, that's crazy.
But the thing about, I don't know, because her and I on social media, so her looks, I give her compliments all the time because her looks, I know she says it sometimes, the things that she puts, but the angles and everything, she just looks all kinds of different ways.
I know my angles, but it's also the filters. Man. He's like, why do you look different here? Like, it's a filter.
She looks like
you have to send me those filters, girl. I'm trying to get on Univision, telenovelas, bro.
You really like William Levy.
We can AI you into William Levy.
But
I'm going to do that.
But just in general, you really have to have the base for it. And she's just, for whatever reason, the way that she takes, I'm like, damn, I just look like a different person.
Yeah.
Like, who is this? Oh, shoot, Stephanie.
Yeah, I have different looks and filters.
That's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Okay, so tell me something that only Latinos would understand about all the other outside cultures. What do you feel like it's only something that we get?
A tanda.
That's a good one.
A tanda, like, if you're Latino, when your mom is like, ay, mijo, me va a llegar la tanda en esta semana. For those of you who don't know, pretty much it's not a pyramid scheme, but it's like, it's almost like the Latino way of having a savings account, right? Where it's like, you kind of, everybody gets a number, and let's say it's like 10 numbers, and everybody's going to give $100 each. I think depending on the number that you get determines if you get the money first. So, let's say you got the ticket, you got the money up front, $1,000, but you're still paying down that money, right? Over a couple of weeks. And I think a tanda is something that we all know about.
What is that called in English? Is there a name for it?
I had this conversation a long time ago. I don't remember.
Tanda.
The tanda.
Savings account, bro.
But you got to make sure everyone's accountable. Otherwise,
that's true.
You'll lose.
Okay, in order for a tanda to work, it's not a pyramid scheme because the person doesn't keep the money and takes everybody's money. So the way it goes, the 10 numbers, the first person you get, the number one, you get, let's say 10 people, $1,000. You get the $1,000 that week. Next week, number two gets the $1,000.
Yep.
But the number one gets to pay $100 every single time until everybody's paid out to the number 10. And it works. And you know how I got here to the States? By tanda.
There you go.
Wow, that just gave me chills.
My mom and my dad did a tanda for them to be able to get the money so they can bring us, my sisters, my siblings and I over.
That's awesome.
So I appreciate a tanda whenever you do it correctly, respectfully. It's like, It works.
Product of a tanda.
Product of a tanda.
That's
right
awesome, bro.
Wow, that's a t-shirt.
There you go. Hey.
Don't take it.
Hey, whoa. We got that.
We're all going to get ready.
Come on, man.
33% all of us. Tanda.
Ya está, ya dijo, tanda.
I'm going to get in the shirts out.
Tanda team.
That's a great shirt.
Yeah.
It would go viral.
Yeah.
Very true story.
Yeah.
That's how my parents were able to bring us to... I'm legal now, by the way. I'm a citizen.
Yeah.
So don't come at me because we're going to have a terrible conversation. Especially on your side.
Oh, who are you looking at the camera?
Yeah. At the camera.
The producer's
I'm like,
what did she do? Why are you getting yelling at your producer? That's crazy.
No. I love Bree.
I didn't
She's
see it.
awesome.
You're
That's
awesome.
this right there. So if y'all want to talk to the cameraman, wait, the camera there, I forgot earlier. Okay, tanda. That is so true.
No, yeah,
Do you think it's more Mexicano thing or other Latinos would use it?
Maybe they'll let us know in the comments because to me, a tanda, it's like the most normal thing ever.
Yeah.
So I don't know if other Latinos use it, you know, like
Or they have a variation of it.
Maybe they have a version of it.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think we all at some point have heard about it and it's from experience that man, and that's an amazing story. And I think that's like a powerful story.
Yeah.
I've seen tandas also impact people in a positive, not to that extent, but in a similar way where it's like it transforming lives, you know?
Shout out to tanda. That's
Shout
why I'm here,
tanda.
baby. Stephanie, what do you have? Anything that pops into mind?
Well, I mean, what pops into mind for most recently, knowing how to squeeze a lime properly. Like, I feel like Hispanic people, Mexican people, Hispanic people, we know how to like, maybe that sounds weird, but I was trying to teach my daughter, she's like, how do you do that? It's like just years of practice. Like you just get it and then you...
Did you not use this exprimidor? The little
I mean, I
device?
do, but like when I'm putting over my tacos or my meat or whatever, my food, I just use my hand.
Yeah.
And I've learned how to get all of it out. Or am I the only one that...
No, I use my teeth if I can't do it. Like if the limit's too hard.
Okay, now you got.
Wait, what?
Wait,
what?
That's what you're talking about, right?
Now we all not in the same page.
No. You said, are you talking about lemon? Limon, yeah.
Tacos. How to
Yeah,
squeeze
yeah.
it correctly.
Like, squeeze it.
But whenever it's not fully mature, like it's hard. How are you gonna squeeze it?
Oh, you put it in the microwave a little bit.
Oh, I didn't know that trick.
But-
Okay, so there's a bunch of tricks for limones.
Yeah.
First
Okay.
of all, you have to know how to pick them.
Yeah.
Do you know how to pick a good line?
Yes.
How do you pick a
I
good line?
squeeze it a little bit, and there's a little bounce back,
Okay.
and then a little lime discoloration.
Yep.
Lets me know.
Another trick is if they're smooth.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Rule of thumb,
Okay.
if they're really smooth, if they got a little dents on them, most likely they're not gonna have a lot of
Yeah.
juice, and then a little bit
Yeah.
of softness to them.
Okay.
And those are good ones. Almost like 99.9%.
What about a good
You're gonna get
avocado?
one.
Because I always have a hard time picking the right avocado.
You have to
You
smart.
got- Yeah, like they can't be too squishy,
Yep.
but not too hard. You got to be able to like do it small, like you feel it.
Barely feel it, bro. Barely
Like a baby peach.
don't force it. Just barely, and you
Yeah,
can feel
you
a little
gotta-
bit. You can
Okay.
sense it in your fingers, like it's like
Yeah,
it's ready.
it's-
Or you can get avocados that are not ripe. Put them on a paper bag and put them on top of your fridge.
I've heard that. Like the
works.
newspaper trick, right? You wrap it in
You
newspaper.
can do a newspaper too,
Okay.
but you can usually a paper bag. You put them in there and leave them a day or two, and they're good to go, bro.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, when I buy mine, I get like the ones that are ready for that day or the next day, and then I get the harder ones. So then they go, when I need them a week later.
Do you put them on top of the fridge or you don't?
No,
or
I
just in a
just-
paper bag.
I don't even put them in a paper bag. I just let them sit in my my fruit thing.
So if you want to hurry up and not wait 2 days,
But yeah,
and
yeah,
hurry
it's to
up.
speed it. It's to speed it up.
Speeds it up.
Okay, that's awesome. Nice to
Yeah.
know.
Shoot, man. So the line part,
Yeah. Do you know? Do you?
I never paid attention, and you know what?
Okay.
I just noticed that I'm always messy, so
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it correctly. I'm just like freaking
Hey,
all over the place.
maybe guys, we're just messy, bro.
Or maybe
Like-
there's not a correct way to do it. Me and my family, we always talk about it, just squeezing it. Never had this conversation.
Tell me why limes have the best freaking aim possible. Tell me, like somebody
Lime.
squeezing or a limon, a lime, over here, and I'm over there, and like all of a sudden
Yeah.
you get some freaking jugo in your eye.
I always getting confused. Like I always say,
Me too.
lemon.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about it because that's a
Because
real
it's
Latino thing.
limon. Like,
Un limon is the green ones,
Yes.
which is the limes, and a lemon is the yellow one, which is una lima.
yeah,
That I know. Like, what do y'all know?
I call them both limon.
they're both limones to me, bro. Like,
limon amarillo y limon verde.
limón amarillo, limón verde.
you
Like,
go.
yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. That's true. I don't know about the line one. I think it might be a family thing.
Maybe.
Now you got me thinking though, because I'm like, why am I always messy in my hands?
Oh, I don't know.
Not squeezing it right.
I don't know.
That's what it is.
I don't know. Perception.
Tell me, for you, lady first again, what is a heartfelt lesson that you learned that you continue to use on the things that you're done in regards to your business? Like something that you really impacted you that till this day you feel is super important to continue to do for you as you do and help your customers or help anybody in general. What is that?
Okay, so this, I don't know if this has helped me, but it definitely affirms to not be a piece of shit of a person. This sticks with me everywhere I go. So I used to work at a used car dealership. Yeah. And that specific car dealership, they're no longer in business, but they would latch on and victimize Latinos that didn't understand the contracts, take their car and say that they were going to put it as a trade-in. They would fabricate numbers. And we didn't know this in accounting because I did all the billing. So anyway, there was a older Latino man that called crying. He's like, Mija, like, I don't understand English. He's like, they said that they're going to pay my car off. It's been 3 months. Now the bank's calling me. He was crying. He's like, this is everything I had. And I had, like he wanted to, anyway. And so from that moment, like there's nothing that I could have done to help them because they already put the car out into auction. Like they did a bunch of messed up things. And it bothered me just because you're taking advantage of someone that doesn't speak English and that can't read the contract properly. And and that's another thing, side note, you can't sign a contract in another language. It has to be in English from what the banks told me. Yeah. And
oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I got really upset with one of our reps one day because I'm like, that's discrimination because they should be able to understand. And then basically what told me is it's not our fault that they don't know how to speak English. And that shit pissed me off. Mm-hmm. That's a whole nother story. But ever since I experienced that, and not being able to help that guy, I just kind of subconsciously have vowed to myself to be transparent when you do business with people. Don't ever do anything shady. And I don't think that's a part of my character anyway. I mean, I know it's not a part of my character anyway. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I try to definitely make sure that the people that I work with know how to trust me because trust isn't easily given. And I want them to know, like, if I'm working with you, I'm going to be just as passionate and honest and here for this just how you are, so
that's true. So yeah, most of the legal contracts, most of the financial contracts in general, mortgages, cars, notes, all that stuff has to be in English.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
I don't know of an institution that does it any other way.
It is
and
crazy.
That's just the only way.
That's crazy, man. Stuff like that pisses me off, bro. Yeah, because I've seen it, and I've seen it from both aspects, and I like watching like the news and when stuff like that happens because I think it helps educate me on the ways that people are doing business to help the Latino who doesn't know about those tactics and guide them in the right direction. And I see a lot of stuff like that happens, and it happens time and time again. And I one of the things that comes to mind similar to that is like the pyramid schemes. I mean, we brought up the topic, the whole MLMs and like, you recruit your family and then your family recruits another one. And a lot of those prey on the Latino community as well, because they know we are about family, so they get the mother of the household, the dad of the household or the oldest sibling. And they're like, okay, hey, tell your brothers, tell your cousins. And it in most cases, a lot of people lose a lot of money también, and at least in my world in the marketing industry, one of the things that I've picked up on very quickly is that it's very difficult to create a trustful relationship with someone that you don't know, and more so whenever they're Latino, because there's been a lot of marketing agencies or just companies in general that have taken advantage of our community. But one of the things that I find true to myself that kind of helps me continue to do what I do is just seeing them as I see my dad, as I see my mom. And I think for me, that's why it's a little bit more like it gets me a little bit more pissed off because if I saw somebody screwing over my mom or my dad, like it's game on, bro. Like, we'll have to, I'm about to go back to whenever I grew up in Pleasant Grove, bro. Like no more. Nah, I don't think that's tampoco. No, but I think for me, it's more of like, hey, I'm not gonna let that happen. I'm gonna stand up for my people. I'm gonna stand up for my mom, my brothers, my siblings. And I think for me, it's kind of been one of those things where it's like I see it so often that I've tried to narrow and just tailor my presentation to help people gain that trust by providing a lot of education first. Like, hey, this is kind of what you should know. You don't have to walk away with me as your professional or consultant, but at least you know, because if you know, and if you decide not to choose me, you decide to go through a different company, at least you know what questions to ask. At least you know what to be, careful of. And I think that's why a lot of people hate me sometimes, like in the corporate world, because I do my best to try to help my people.
What in the marketing world do you feel like Latinos get exploited the most of? What is it exactly that they like? They're not delivering on what they're saying they're going. What are you finding?
Well, I think the issue is twofold, because on one end there's a responsibility on both parties. There's a responsibility on the business professional that's doing everything in their power to educate the consumer, whether it's Hispanic consumer or not, the consumer in general, to set the right expectations. And then on the other side, you have your consumer, which is their responsibility to get educated on what it is that they need. What problem do they have, and what's the solution to the problem, so you can better identify who's going to provide that solution. So on both parties, there's that responsibility, but I believe that most of the burden in a way falls to the business professional, because it's your job to set those expectations. And if the expectations are not set, to make sure that you within the conversation that you're having, the Hispanic consumer is understanding the direction that you're taking the final decision. So I think what I've seen where people take advantage the most is similar to what you said, like locking them into contracts and locking them into long-term commitments, where it's just like they want to cancel, but it's like, no, you can't, because you signed a year contract. And it's like, well, I didn't even know, because it wasn't explained to me, or the clause wasn't explained to me. So I see that a lot, time and time again. But it's kind of something that what we do, and especially in our industries, is we can get rid of that issue and weed out those people that are actually taking advantage by doing the right thing all the time.
Yeah, because you're right. Like a lot of the times, some Latinos, Spanish speaking, they came here, they might not be educated, they can do the work, but all they're looking at the end of the day, even the marketing, let's say they get into it because they know they need it, is they just want to see clients. Yeah. Have you seen the people kind of sort of like sponge that and maybe give them a lead or something, just to kind of feel like they're selling them like, oh, this works. Look, I did this for you. Have you seen it?
So I've seen it a lot happen specifically with lead generation companies, where they'll say, hey, you don't pay us anything. The only thing you pay is per result. So what they'll do, and this is kind of like something for people to watch out for, is that what a lot of these marketing agencies do when they're pretty much being paid per performance is that, let's say I don't charge you to run your ad campaigns, and you have a construction company, and I'll say, hey, you don't have to pay me to run the ads. I won't charge you to management or to create the content. All you have to do is cover your marketing expense. Let's say I give you a budget. You should probably invest $800 a month to generate your own leads. You're not paying that to me. You're paying that to Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. So on your end, you're like, okay, well, I'm not losing, right? Because it's my money. I'm investing in my business and the leads are mine. But what people don't know on the other end is that whenever you pay, let's say that budget generated 50 leads, and let's say none of those worked for you. Well, that's fine, because what most agencies do that are not ethical, they'll turn around and sell those leads to someone else. So they took your leads that you paid for, sold them to another contractor, sold them to another contractor, sold them to another contractor. And then that's what burns the entire marketing industry, because you're just like, well, I hired somebody and it didn't work. Yeah, because they were more so trying to generate as many leads. And in most cases, it's unqualified leads. They just launch ads because they just want anybody to fill out the form, because that's more money in their pocket that they could potentially settle people.
So it's a bunch of recycling leads that even the lead itself might not even be a thing.
It might not be as qualified because maybe they didn't take the time to properly set up the strategy. Who do you want to target? What's the problem you're solving? And I see that a lot. And I think what most contractors or I think people within our community don't understand is the value behind hiring someone to help you from point A to point Z. And in most cases is walking you a la mano, and telling you, hey, esto se hace, esto no se hace, este es el porqué. But a veces eso cuesta. Sometimes it costs a little bit. And because there's not a lot of education on the side of like, this is why you need it, or this is why it's valuable. Sometimes our community doesn't see that value. Y a veces nos dicen, es que alguien me lo hace más barato, somebody does it cheaper. And you're just like, oh man. Now you have to undercut yourself. You have to lowball yourself because somebody is doing it cheaper.
But it's not.
But it's not. They're just like probably just doing like whatever strategy, but you know that you want to help them. So I think that's what sometimes also affects you. And I'm pretty sure you've seen it, right, within your industry, that you do a lot of great work, you do things right, but then somebody comes and pretty much slaps you with Es que tal persona does it cheaper.
Yeah, or I've been told in a different aspect. You know, I've had this big influencer girl that is good friends with the liquor store that I help, you know, and that's one of the things that I tell my clients, like, okay, I'm not here to bring clients or to make you money. I'm here to maintain and create for your page and make sure that the consistency there. And if it grows, it's because it's your brand that is attracting them. I don't take the credit for that, you know? So, and I feel like I go above and beyond from what the contract says with my clients. And I had this big influencer girl that doesn't even, you know, interact with her friend that owns a store, but we went viral and they've been selling a lot, you know. We've had about 3 or 4 viral videos with the liquor store on TikTok, and we got on the Fort Worth Love List, which was a really big deal for us. And now, like, the hype is there, so she started talking down on, you know, well, your marketing girl's not doing this. Well, she's not doing that because she has 33,000 followers and she thinks that she knows everything. Like, you don't know the agreement that I had with this individual. Yep. Don't talk bad to your friend about me because you have success in one area, because you're not making the money, you're not working.
How come you weren't there helping your friend when they were trying to come up?
Exactly.
And give them a hand.
And
why all of a sudden the money's coming in?
And I pointed that out, and I pulled up the DM because I do have receipts.
She came with receipts.
And I was like, the liquor store, from the liquor store page, we messaged her the invite for this party. We messaged her grand opening. We messaged her this. She only came once to the store. She's never reposted. She's left us on red. She's never liked any shit, you know? And so it's like, how dare you, B-word, come and talk on my name when you don't even know me? And I wanted to say something to her, but like, in a way, like, it upset me because you're not going to sit and talk about my work when you don't even know what's going on. So I do get lowballed sometimes. I do have other people that try, like, you know, oh, maybe it's cheap. The people I work with aren't really like it's cheaper here because I honestly charge really cheap compared, like, for what I do. I've seen people charge like $800 to $1,000 a month for 5 hours of work, 16 posts a month. I'm like, I charge a fraction.
But your rates are going to go up now that you're at the global Latin factory. You're going to have to double it.
Yeah, better come correct with the bag.
It's like, now you can say, hey, like, I was on this renowned podcast. It's global. My rates
she'll be if you're talking down the homie, she'll be coming here and we'll spend an hour over here. We're gonna spool.
You know what?
We're gonna pull screens up. We're gonna everything. We're gonna break it down to the. We're gonna
drop names.
I'm not dropping
Who was the person that was that?
I like my piece. I like my piece.
We're gonna go
not ready
to.
for that.
This is me. They come at me, but I'm saying.
Give him the name beforehand.
And we'll go through your entire profile and we'll find your cousin, your tia, and everything to see how great you're doing.
Yeah.
Stop playing.
So, but
yeah, it sucks, man. It happens a lot. It happens a lot. You always have those people that just come across or just, you know, they want to take over some of the success that you're giving, especially like whenever you're good at what you do. But one of the things that I've learned also is to also learn how to value my time and energy because of I would say the experience, the education, because if you don't value it, nobody else will, you know. And if you continue to lowball yourself, it's like it becomes a race to the bottom. Like, who's cheaper, you know, instead of you know, going up and saying, hey, you know, I'm doing better. It's like, for me, for a very long time, it became a race and I was competing against myself, you know, like, oh, I want to help this person. I'm gonna give him a discount.
I could charge $200, but man, $150 would do even better.
Like, I just got to pay my light bill, you know. Dang. Like a couple McChickens, you know. And but it's, I think for me, what's helped me, and you know, I'm still in the journey of growth, and I'm in the journey of learning, and I'm open to también partnerships because I don't know it all, and I think you'll run into that a lot, right, in the marketing industry, that this person knows it all. Like, he has 0 success stories, and he's like, yeah, according to my calculations. Like, bro, calm down. Like, so so that's part of my journey too, learning how to be open to opinions and suggestions. But it's growth, I think, is most important.
It's funny you said that earlier about lowballing yourself, because so I MC the Sonidos the summer for the chamber. I just help them. Like, say I volunteer. I help her and do it for y'all because you don't have an MC, and I can I have experience on it.
Yeah.
And then I started looking at the things that I've done since 2013 when I started MCing and doing weddings and private events and being here, being there, and everywhere else. And I put all that information on ChatGPT to give me like a general amount of what would be fair to charge for somebody that's like an expert, like pretty much a professional MC, a master of ceremony. And it gave me like that 900 or so and different events. And I'm like, I punched in just when I was creating like a profile for me, I'm like, drop it for $200. I'm like, but why? Everything that I input says.
Hey, ChatGPT is like, are you crazy?
But everything that I inputted is like, that's the fair amount.
Yeah.
Like for somebody that's done the work that I've done concerts, I've done different things.
You were a rapper?
Yeah, at one time, didn't sign to nobody, but still.
You had braids?
So all that stuff is like, why am I like cutting myself lower than, because their budget is not available for me? Because I've done like literally a professional bilingual MC.
Yeah.
That people are willing to pay in weddings all the time. And yet I'm like, drop it 150, drop it another 50. Yeah. I'm like, why? I
think for a lot of us, sometimes lo hacemos to build up our portfolio. Yeah. But I think from time to time, it's like, okay, you have to recognize the experience that you have and the value that experience
and
carries.
That's when I was realizing, I was like, darn it, since 2013, over this amount of time, I've done so many, hundreds of weddings, hundreds of this, hundreds of that, and I have the skill, and everybody and their mama, whenever I'm emceeing, because I know I'm good at it, all of a sudden it's like, oh, you're really good. Everybody's like giving compliments. Who's the MC, this and that? I'm like, what am I doing? Like, why am I cutting myself low?
Do you think at some point you find it difficult to believe it yourself? Like,
I think so. I think that's a little bit of that too, but at the same time, it's like you think about the people that are like prestigious things, like they're willing to pay extra money because they know they're good, and that's the reason why. Am I doing me a favor, or maybe I need to be going up more because I'm that top tier MC instead of like $150, $500, $300 MC. You know what I mean?
Yeah, rates are going up. 2026
right now. Yeah. What was the viral video that you had, and what did you saw looking into it, or the few viral videos that you had? Yeah. There's like, oh, this is why it went, or what did you learn about those particular ones?
So specifically with the liquor store, well, let me take it back a little bit. Yeah. So I also do marketing for a food truck that has delicious food, by the way. Mm-hmm. And we went viral. I feel like
You can plug them in, by the way. Yeah. Free plugins for all of them.
Okay. So, Touch of Toast is the one that I do in Chantel's Liquor. And they're actually brothers. Touch of Toast is in Northlake.
Shout out Touch of Toast. Touch of Toast? Is that what
Touch of Toast.
Like Touch Your Toast?
No, Touch of Toast. Like butter and toast.
That's a creative name.
Everything's on Texas toast. And then they do have some bun items. But everything is like quality. It's really good.
Their pictures. I always tell that she's the one posting the video because I can see her hand.
Yeah, my fat little sausages.
No. Her nails.
No, I'm going to check them out. Yeah.
So you were
they're
saying,
good. They're
so
good.
you have both.
So they're actually brothers. So I learned with Touch of Toast, we got about 2 million views collectively within a week because our donut burger went viral. And I tried a different strategy. I broke it with a trending audio and it pissed people off. And then I started playing with the hashtags, and I learned for local businesses using hashtags on TikTok for the surrounding areas. So I put like Northlake, Justin, Denton, blah, blah, blah. It helped open that demographic on the For You page. And then they ended up getting, so now we're like at 3.5 million views, with that TikTok account. And it's a fairly new account. So I use that same strategy with the liquor store, because you also got to think like, what do people like? Like, because I think this is good and I like this doesn't necessarily mean that people like it. So with the liquor store, we have these bags, they're party bags, and every single bag has, we all mix the drinks and we taste them and we make sure like everything that goes into the drink mixes well. So the bags, I just took footage of the shelves. They were stocked up. And then I did, your point of view, your newest obsession. You found the new plug for your drink bags in Fort Worth because they're like a big viral thing. But Fort Worth, DFW doesn't really have a lot of liquor stores that do that. So then I plugged that in, and then we ended up getting a bunch of people coming into the store. And then like they had a point, they had to restock all the shelves,
That's dope.
And
and
it's a good thing. And like, they were like doubling their numbers, having high numbers on the weekend. And, so I've been using that method with different things. So we were able to go viral with that. And then because of that, we had this influencer, I don't know his name all the way, forgive me, his name is Shane, does reviews or something of that nature. Yeah. So he came to the liquor store and did some reviews, and he did Touch of Toast. And then we had the Fort Worth Love List also because of the video come out. And, the store gave them a bucket and some bags, and they were able to try it. So cool. Them also posting it because of the, also added more people onto our Instagram and onto, what we're doing. But yeah, to answer your question, it was the drink bags.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty awesome.
With the local hashtags,
it's
that helps
interesting.
a lot.
No, I was going to say that, and that's how you know she knows what she's talking about, because in more technical terms, that's search engine optimization, right?
Yep.
And it's really what it is. So a lot of people think it's just for websites and for Google rankings, but if you're a great content creator like her, knowing search engine optimization, using the right hashtags, the right phrases, because a lot of people use social media as Google, and sometimes it's so normal for us to just go into Instagram and like stalk our exes. Not me, but it's so like normal for people. Where's everybody nervous? What's going on? No.
I'm blocked.
Every so often.
That's correct.
I said I'm blocked.
No, but
that's true. The true story.
Yeah,
I saw it in her story.
We all unite. Look at those.
Just unlock me, man. We cool. Why not,
man?
We're
trying to see how you doing. No, but yeah,
you're right. Search engine. It's like a lot of them
use Instagram and social media like that now. Like your best taco spot, your best food truck. So it's a great observation, and I think I applaud you for that, because a lot of people that are in the influencer space may not implement that strategy, and it's great that you do.
Yeah, you just have to think like, and I'll say personally, like for my YouTube has done well in my travel. Like my YouTube has done well, but that's because my ex reposted my video one time, and he has a good following. But like when I try to do my own thing, I don't get as much success, but people don't like to see like my bullshit ass life. It's not bullshit to me, but people don't like to see that. People like to see
it.
Thank
I find
you.
it entertaining.
But people,
there's definitely people that would be interested.
I have some audience. I don't feel like I have.
I like the transitions. I like the way you put it. I like the scenery. It's pretty peaceful. I really do. Generally like it.
I appreciate it. I worked really hard on my last one, but I know that's not everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah, of course.
Now, a lot of people, most of the population, they like to drink, they like food. That's a common thing that unites people. You don't have to speak the same language, and you can have a shot with someone, or a burger with someone, and y'all enjoy the same thing. So like learning like what people want to see, like that really is a big thing. And then once you find that, you just hold on to that, and just there's a lot of recycling that's done, a lot of reposting, a lot of stuff that I have learned. I'm still a baby at doing this to a degree, but you see what you feed your audience that, and researching. That's a big, what is the word? Search engine, what?
Search engine optimization.
Okay, that's, SEO.
SEO.
According to my calculations, look at
SEO. Hey, she just had a moment that I had one time with IHOP.
Yeah.
So for a long time, years, IHOP, what the heck is IHOP? And one time I was driving and I turned left, and on the building, International House of Pancakes, like, that's what it means.
International House of Pancakes.
That's what IHOP mean, bro.
I didn't know that. No. That's my moment. Like, what? My whole life has been a lie.
SEO?
Yeah.
Like the same moment.
Yeah. I didn't know. I'm like, SEO. I know SEO, but okay.
She added to her resume tonight.
Yeah. ChatGPT.
No, it's good though. And I think with content creation specifically, I think for businesses or people in general, I think there has to be that I guess the braveness of wanting to do something different. Because I think a lot of times we get so used to how things have been done for a very long time, but this space is rapidly evolving, especially with AI. Anybody could just type in a prompt and create an artificial intelligence video, So I think it's important for any business owner or influencer or anybody in the space that's wanting to leverage a platform to take those risks, like you said, observe the trends, and then just kind of implement that strategy. Because, you have to keep trying until something hits and something goes viral.
Yeah. Consistency is what's important too. And I don't know if you run into this, as someone that does marketing, but like, I feel like sometimes people are in their own way, so they feel like they know. So I get stressed out if they're like, you need to do it this way. Yeah. You need to do it that way. And I'm like, trust me, there's a method in my madness. I have a vision.
Why hire a professional if you want?
Well, because people, it's their business and their brand, so they're emotionally tied to it. Yeah. And what's not a bad thing, but sometimes like me, like I'm a people pleaser. Like I have a certain servant's heart. I don't like to be. I have boundaries, okay? But when someone is not satisfied with something or thinks something else, like I stress out. I'm like, how can I make it better? How can I do this? And then sometimes I'm like, no, like this is blurring my vision. Let me do what I need to do, and just give me the time so I can show you. Yeah. And then boom, like it's like, oh, okay, dope. We're here. We're booking.
Well, it makes sense because it's their baby.
Yeah, and that's a very good observation, because for a lot of business owners, and I think most people, for the most part, who are your traditional 9 to 5, may not understand to the fullest extent what it takes to run a business. You know, we understand what the entrepreneurship life is. We do it in some aspect, whether it's, you know, at a small scale or a bigger scale. But there's just something about entrepreneurship where you wear so many hats and you do so many things that it just becomes normal trying to have your hand in different, you know, pockets. Like, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that. For me, I run into it a lot too. But I have to be assertive, and I think that's what helps me sometimes navigate the call and just be a little bit more like, hey, you hired me for a reason, and maybe because what you have been doing hasn't been working. But it's a difficult conversation because, you know, some clients know it all too. You're just like, bro, like, what? You hired me to do a job.
Yeah.
And
one of the things, especially for Latino business owners, that is a huge deal is to be able to delegate things.
Responsibility.
Because there's a lot of pride in us to be able to know how to do everything and bust our behind instead of hiring the right people, letting go of those reins and let them do what they know and they're supposed to be doing because they know. Those things, especially in Latinos and entrepreneurs in general, but more for Latinos.
I agree.
That gets on the way a lot. And it's been a common thing that's been happening, popping up for us as far as like, and even entrepreneurs that come in nowadays, I'm asking them, how is it to be able to, how do you feel about letting go of this? Or how do you feel about delegating these things? Because, you know, a lot of us, especially it's our baby, and we want to know want to wear all the hats proudly to be able to, I did it all, instead of like, damn, bro, you're tired, you ain't got no time. Let this person do
because
this.
we want to take the credit, rightfully so, right? We want to take that credit of like, hey, I did it on my own. We did it, you know. And,
but if you want to scale your business, if you want to grow your business,
you have to delegate.
You cannot grow if you do not let go. Trust the person that you hired to be able to do. Yep.
I know.
I'm full of t-shirts.
You cannot let go.
You have to.
Delegation.
Cannot let go.
That's good. You can't grow if you don't let go.
There you go.
Boom.
I'm going to rewatch that episode.
Now we're at 66%.
Are you designing the shirts or what? 33?
Yeah, I'll design them.
Give
me 2%.
We'll go half and half on the design.
Yeah.
You design the first phrase, I do the bottom one.
I'll put it on my, you know I sell shirts on, all these shirts right here?
Yeah.
Came from Amazon.
Nice.
Oh, really?
I'm an affiliate for them. So shirts that y'all see, y'all can go purchase it, by the way. I'm going to put the link. So
10% discount if you say our names.
Yeah.
I get royalties if I sell like a shirt for $20. They give me like $5 or something like that. So
awesome.
all I gotta do is upload the design. It's called print on demand.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's another hustle.
Since we're all plugging, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to plug or anything.
Hello? Look at that.
I got my own brand, my own merch, you know, Hispanos Marketing. Just
Hello?
Okay.
And he has another one, Contratistas Latinos USA.
Yeah, Contratista Latino pretty much is the subsection of what we do for the contractors.
With the eagle in Espanol, ¿verdad?
Yeah. It's a better design is coming, but we're doing a lot with the contractors specifically. Yep.
Okay. Let's talk about, I'm gonna give you a few subjects. Let me know which one you feel more passionate about, because these are particular subjects that are more challenging for our Latino community, right? So there's economic inequality, wage gap, education barriers, immigration, legal status, healthcare access, disability, representation in media, and politics. Which one do you like more?
I'm honestly gonna say pick whatever.
What about you? What you liking?
I think representation in media and politics, to me, speaks out the most.
All right, check it out. Despite making up a significant portion of the U.S. Population, Latinos are underrepresented in media and politics sphere. In California, for example, Latinos make up nearly 40% of the population, but hold 14.3 of the Supreme Court positions and 12.3 of the District Court appeal seats. What do you feel like we can do better to be able to narrow that gap and put more representation of us in different places?
For me personally, I think it would be as Latinos find the pathway to improve our education as far as self-learning, or if you want to self-learn, if you want to go through school, because I think sometimes opinions can be just subject of something that you picked up in passing, like on a social media post or a video. I think most people sometimes when they're fixated on a specific talking point, it's not so much because they feel that way, it's just because they saw a video of it. And I've seen it. You have people who oppose the Hispanic community, the Latino community, because they've been tied up into this idea of what it is that Latino is, you know, and there's often like a misrepresentation of who we are as a community. So for me, I think as us, our job as Latinos or within the Hispanic community is to continue to better ourselves in education. So when we're giving the opportunity, we're able to discuss these important talking points within the right people. Because I think, we've heard the saying, it's not what you know, who you know. I think it's both, because, if who you know puts you in the right position to speak, but you don't know anything about what's affecting our community, then it was an opportunity that you took for granted. So I think a combination of working on ourselves as far as what we take in, that is something that we're experiencing, the things that we experience as a community, how we can help our community. And then when we have those positions of power, of leadership, to be able to speak on those things in an educated way that helps our people rather than impacts us negatively. Yeah.
What about you? What do you think we need as a community, Latinos, to be able to be represented in not only politics, but in media in general? What do you think have you seen just in general? Have you even thought about it? Do you feel like, even though we're a huge population still, there's very little of us in positions of power, let's say?
I think to be in what you would perceive as a position of power, you would have to hold a higher seat, a good, lawyer, doctor, seat on the Senate. I think that stems with what he was saying, education. But I also feel like that also ties in with another subject you mentioned, is wages. I know personally, just from my family, how I grew up, other Latinos that I know, we are focused on working, and we sometimes barely make it, so we're more focused on surviving and nourishing our family than having the proper education or having the money to have the education if you don't have a scholarship, or if you don't have a grant, or if you don't have whatever to get you through, or the good credit to get you through, the university to even have the credentials to be in that position. I think there's a stereotype in everything. People will always stereotype us. But I mean, I don't know what to do. If I did know, I would,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think, no, you know, as much as far as like what your a lot of us don't really care for, like, and a lot of us just feel like, if we don't feel like whatever the politicians do, we're not gonna make a difference, then it doesn't matter, right? But a lot of the times, you yourself as an entrepreneur and doing your own thing, that's already something that you are contributing to the numbers of entrepreneurs, Latinos that are out there, instead of just the 9 to 5 or whatever it is. You know what I mean? So you're already contributing with 1 and 2, and great representation for, like, for example, schools for your kids. If we need to have better people to be able to be in position to have good schools for our kids, whether we want it or not. So I think those things still add value
to have the option.
Yeah, absolutely.
To have the option there. Yeah. I mean, as a mom, I have both of my kids, and I am a high school dropout. I have barely any college, I have no education when it comes out. A lot of that stuff has been self-taught and observing, which I'm proud of. But I also, I kind of envy the people that have been able to go to the university, just like, wow, that's really cool that you had a chance and opportunity to do this, so you can do X, Y, Z.
Don't be too much. I'm going to drop out.
Yeah, you're not
no, but
I get you.
I don't want the debt, but like, I always wanted.
I just I owe like $50,000 now.
Yeah, right. But I try to tell my kids, like, my daughter is about to be 18. She's graduating this year. She already has a plan. She's had a plan since she was 10 years old, and she's gonna go to barber school. Mm-hmm. She sells her art, so right now she works, and then she does hair on the side, and she makes money. So she's, working into that. But, I always tell them, like, you need to do what you feel like you're passionate with. As cliche as that sounds, like, whatever you feel like brings you out, because it's a very real thing. Yeah.
It's a real powerful thing to say, though, because it really is. If you're going to go to school for something that you didn't like, you're going to live a miserable life. Yeah. Like, let's say, for example, you go to school or go to whatever, trade school, whatever it is, but something that you're passionate about. Sometimes it doesn't even have to feed you financially to be able to be satisfied and be able to be happy. You know what I mean? Real.
Yeah, I think definitely a balance of both, something that you are passionate about, but also, that is for the betterment of your career, that's going to put you in a position where you're going to be able to help your family. I think for me, when I was going to school, I say you don't miss out a lot, because sometimes the stuff that you learn, it's not really applicable on the everyday life, depending on, I guess, the type of career that you choose. But I think there's definitely through that journey, you kind of help identify what it is that it is for you, like what's for you. And for me, kind of the trajectory of going like through high school and then going to community college and not being able to get, financial aid to cover me and things like that. I think for me, it opened definitely the opportunity of like, hey, maybe this isn't for me and maybe my passion lies somewhere else. And I always knew I wanted to help people. I just didn't know how. I figured maybe if I'm a psychologist, I can help people. But then I realized, dang, I think I'm pretty messed up. I think I don't know how much I'm gonna help people. Yeah. But so I kind of just, pivoted and I was like, well, maybe I could do one-on-ones and just help people with their businesses.
Let me not be dismissive of your envy towards people at college, because I feel like that sometimes. Like, man, I wish I would have had the opportunity, because I see all these other young kids, güeritos especially now, like go through 4-year college.
But it's not too late.
So
never too late.
So
it's
I get those thoughts too. Don't get me wrong. But I had an opportunity through the military to go through some school until I fell out of love of school, and it was like, man.
Well, yeah, I have a love-hate with the educational system anyway. I feel like a lot of stuff that I've been able to achieve, I've learned myself and been able to apply. I don't really necessarily envy it. I just kind of wish, like, again, but I had a dad that was very manipulative. He was always like, you're never going to do anything, you're never going to be successful, education's stupid, blah blah blah. Like, I didn't even know how to pay bills. Like, I've had to teach myself everything. So like that was instilled in my head, but I wish I could have, if I could go back, and I don't like shoulda, woulda, coulda, but there's been times like, wow, it'd be cool if I could have taken a business marketing class or a business management class and have that on my resume. So when I do go and present, I have that on my resume, because I have been dismissed before because of my, credentials, or I don't have school or whatever. But I mean, it's worked out for me.
It's a beautiful thought. Don't get me wrong, because I have the same thing. Yeah. Like, I wish it would have, my parents had the resource to be able to put me through a 4-year and go do the whole 4-year experience and whether I ever maneuvered through, found whatever is it that I enjoyed and graduated and be there with the pictures and everything, but it wasn't my life. And it's a beautiful thought. Don't get me wrong. That's the reason why I feel like I can relate to it, because I have it too. Yeah. I have it too. It's just my life wasn't that. Yeah. But whenever I see people graduating 4 years, I'm like, well, I hope that you feel grateful for the opportunity that you got to, because some are looking from the outside and didn't got that. But that never limits you from being an account manager, for being all kinds of stuff.
It hasn't limited me.
Don't get me wrong.
All.
Some things, opportunities, which they will overlook. Because of the same thing, because I've recently been, you don't have this. I'm like, but you never asked me whenever you were looking for this position to fill. Yeah. All of a sudden now I was good enough for it, and I didn't have none of the experiences, but all of a sudden now you're looking for, because I don't have this particular piece on my resume for me to fill this position. I'm like, come on, bro.
I've seen people that have had a lot of education just working at the dealership, people higher than me, making quadruple more than I was. And they didn't know anything. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, like, I know how to do this. And you went to college and university. Then that means I can do it.
I think for sure, there's opportunity in both sides of the world, because you're able to find success in being great at what you do. And most importantly, learning how to present it in a way that people want to buy into it. I mean, because at the end of the day, any type of entrepreneur is a salesperson, and whoever wins and closes the deal is who sells and presents their product the best. But I think what also comes with the education is, and you both touched on that, is that sometimes a specific opportunity, whether it's, I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to continue to pursue education or wanting to go into the corporate world. But I think what limits us sometimes, it's that what you said, is that we don't have the credentials in their eyes. And in most cases, they don't even look at it. They just want to know that you checked off that box. That's it. And I've never had nobody ask me for my degree, I'll be honest, or my high school diploma. I could have bought it at Garibaldi Bazaar, and I would have been just fine.
Well, fuck it.
Yeah, I got the plug. I'll show you.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
No, I'm just kidding. So, allegedly.
So to each their own. If you like college, please go to. Yeah. And if you are going to college and struggling right now, and listen to the podcast, be very grateful that you were able to go to. Because some of us sometimes have these little daydreams that, man, I wish it would have been so nice and pleasant for us to go to that. And we didn't get a chance to. Yeah. And now we got to do what we got to do here on the podcast. Introducing you to all beautiful Latino culture we have. What's up? Okay. Did you ever feel as a Latina, a woman, the wage gap as you were working through, you kind of saw the difference?
Yes.
Tell me about it.
So I'm going to go back to specifically working in finance. During COVID, I was the only Latina woman in the dealership. I got paid. So all the other finance managers we had 14 dealerships. Everyone else got paid about 30 to 40% commission. I got paid barely 20% on what I was making. So I had to work extra hard to meet the same numbers, and I was killing it. I was getting 150%, more than, but it was COVID and I was selling power sports. So like, it was like a lot of money coming in, but I still was on the lower end. I felt blessed because I was like, okay, this money is good for me.
Yeah.
But like compared to my peers making $60,000-$70,000 a month, and like, it was always, I've even had customers, stereotype me like, oh, like, yeah, I own a construction company. You speak really nice for a Mexican, but I can say that because
crazy.
I've been to Jose's Quince before, and you're a Mexican with class, and like just like
that.
no, they said that
they
to
said
me.
it, but
They
you
say
can't say
no,
that.
but they say it.
I know.
They say it,
It's
and because
crazy.
you own a construction company that predominantly all your employees are Hispanic, you think you can talk like this and that you have the right to. And I've been called the SPIC word. Is that how you spell it? I've been called that before.
What were you thinking? Like,
Not Spike TV, bro.
Yeah, but-
It rhymes with
Yeah,
Spike.
But so being a woman, I don't know about the wages. I mean, I feel like women as a whole in this world, we get looked at, as to make less. But I know that the people that I work with didn't like, when I was hitting the numbers and I was making my goals for the month, and they gave me shit like, oh, you can do that, you can do, like, I was always questioned. But I did have, the first book in return, which is the only, like, in finance, like, I sold a warranty to this guy and he was like, oh, I'll think about it. And they got mad at me. Like, you never let someone walk away. Then they think about it. I was like, I gave him all the information. He trusts me and he's really going to think about it. I believed it. And they were laughing at me. He came back the next day and bought 2 warranties. And they're like, oh my God, that's never happened, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, like, I feel like I'm being genuine, with them. And I don't know, but I definitely have felt the brunt of that. And when I was successful, they didn't like it and they would be vocal about it.
The thing about car sales, man, the process hasn't changed in years, and it just feels so yucky anytime you step into a dealership. It's just like, ugh.
Yeah.
And then even I've seen a homie post something about Carvana. They're being a freaking mess forever and a day. So even the ones that you buy online, even it's not working out.
Well,
so damn,
I've seen that,
scam.
and I agree. I think that tactic, I've seen it just transition to different industries, and I've seen it a lot in the insurance, life insurance community, where it's like you have people who are using the same tactics to pretty much lock people into specific types of life insurance policies that probably are not the most beneficial for them financially or maybe long term. And I know that firsthand because I have a lot of people within the industry that kind of tell me their experiences. And I'm like, well, this really hasn't changed. Like, as far as strategy, they still prey on people. Sometimes it just takes a different title in a different industry.
Well, I don't feel attacked, but I am part of a organization that does that individually, independent. But I do see where those ideas come from, because there is particular people that don't educate people correctly as to if it's a fit for them or not. Because a lot of the time, certain products, financial products and other stuff, is not fit for everybody.
Yeah.
It's not a one size fits all. So if you put them in the wrong place, selling them something that is not correct, and if it's not structured correctly, then they are going to have things that are not going to work out for them.
Yeah. But
in general, a good financial advisor that it's looking for the customer a lot of the times would recommend some type of insurance policy, especially if you have a mortgage for the same thing. If you're not there, who's going to take care of it? So all of those things are good. But if you are not educated, you don't have a good heart to be able to do that, you are going to set people for failure. And then there's a lot of them like that. There's a lot of people like that. And it sucks.
And you said it yourself. I think there's a big difference between educating the customer on a product versus being in the same industry and then just trying to recruit people to make money off of them and to make money off of them and to make money off of them. So there's definitely a distinction between like those people that are bad people and those people that are good people and honest like yourself.
Yeah, I think a lot of for me, challenging growing in that business for the same reason that I have that I need to be able to have people. One of the biggest things that I learned in the military was integrity.
Yeah.
And if I can't have integrity and have my word be solid enough that you can take it to the grave and take it to the bank, that I'm not worth much if I can't do that. Yeah. So if I can't get you to see the vision and want to do it because you literally see an opportunity for you to be able to do something, then I can't work with you, and it's not for you, and it's okay. Yeah. But that's the reason why other people see different things, and it's just not the way sometimes, And I might be slower at it, but at the same time, I sleep like a baby at night. Because I know that at least I was honest. I had integrity, and I put people in good positions because I know that it's a good product as long as you do it correctly, and put them in a better place for their families if they so desire. If not, then it's not. At least in my eyes, I had information and I related to people and let them do whatever they want with it.
All right, sign me up for a life insurance policy. Here, it takes my social. Take my social. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. I just need you to sign here. No, but I agree with you, man. And I think I admire that about you specifically. And knowing you on a personal level, I know that. And I can honestly say that you have been one of the most transparent individuals that I've met within the networking industry. I just met you today, but I'm sure you fall within that category as well, as transparent and honest. Yeah. But it's you specifically, I can vouch for that aspect of you, that any conversation that we've had has been, how do we help our people? Yeah. What can we do to highlight our community? So I want to applaud you, and I want to give you credit where credit is due. And I think that's an important character within yourself that a lot of people unfortunately don't have. Yeah,
that's true. And I think yourself has that character. So that's the reason why I feel like, I like to talk to you and interact the things you're doing, because I know it's with integrity. Yep. And I think it's a solid thing to have. You have to have that. You have to have that for yourself. Otherwise, who are you in general in the world?
You se siente, you can feel it.
Yeah.
You
Energy
can feel
doesn't
it.
lie.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes, but.
Let's talk about the education part before we wrap up, because I think we're getting ready. Where we at, Bree? We're an hour?
She's like, I'm trying to go home. I ain't getting no overtime.
Not at all. She's liking it.
No, we're good. She's loving it.
Okay, so your way of being able to be better for the community is to educate and implement classes. Why do you think it's important for the people to understand the concept of marketing, and what is your approach to it so they can get it? Because if you look into marketing, it's like a huge freaking thing. It's like a gigantic thing. So it's like eating an elephant, right? So where do you start off? You got to start little by little to kind of get them introduction. So what is your approach whenever you're trying to educate them in marketing? Especialmente alguien que habla español, especially somebody who speaks Spanish.
So I would say close to 100% of the people that I serve as the clientele are Spanish speakers primarily, don't speak any English, and they don't really have a fundamental understanding of marketing. So that on its own is challenging, because marketing often, for the people that are from here and that speak English, at some point they've came across what marketing does and the value behind marketing, because it's been spoken in our language in English. Mm-hmm. For the contractor who's a Spanish speaker who may not have run across that same content or that same education, it's like they don't really understand what's in it for them. So a lot of what I do by nature is educating the Hispanic community on, hey, this is what marketing is. This is good marketing. This is bad marketing. This is what you invest in. This is what marketing encompasses, because there's so many ways to market, right? You can do lead generation. You can do awareness campaigns, email marketing, outreach marketing, door knocking. Like the list goes on and on and on. So for me, it has been very critical to be able to provide this education for free, and in their language, in Spanish. I'm fluent in Spanish, thanks to my mom and my dad, that I grew up speaking Spanish with them. Yeah. So for me, that has been a very important aspect of what I do. And what I've been pretty much putting together over the past several years is different forms of simplifying the marketing, the technical aspects of marketing, because it can be difficult, especially for someone that they just learned about it today on why they need a professional logo. And to some people, it may be like, well, I know why I need a logo. But your Hispanic contractor who's been door knocking and who's been closing $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 deals on their own has never needed a logo, a business card, a website. So of course to them, they're like, well, why do I need to have a cohesive brand? What do I need to have a website for? So that's the difficulty behind the education. But I think segmenting it in digestible, understandable workshops, I think is what's helped me. And it's important, because at the end of the day, I know that I'm doing good if I'm educating someone that reminds me of my dad, someone that reminds me of my mom, into making a better decision. And even if it's not with me, at least I know that they walked away with some sort of education where nobody else is going to take advantage of them.
Why is it important for people to have a logo and a website? Let's say in general, if they are making some good money, why? What are the great things that come with that?
Well, when you think of the bigger companies like Nike, Apple, Grainer, or even within the contracting space, DeWalt, Grainer, these manufacturers that are multi-million, if not billion-dollar companies, it's important to analyze what they've been doing and what they continue to do, because that means that it's working, you know. And oftentimes when you have a branding that encompasses a professional website, your business card, your logo, your marketing material, and branding isn't just the graphics, it's also what you stand, the values behind your brand, you know, your mission statement, you know, in some cases your pitch, your sales pitch, it has to be aligned with your brand as well, with your morals and your story. So all of that collectively works together to not just help connect with the ideal customer, but also have some longevity long term. It's often heard, and it's a stat that most Hispanic contractors or Hispanic business owners in general don't have an exit plan. In most cases is because they're not thinking 3 or 4 or 5 years ahead when they decide to sell their business. How is it that you're going to have an investor wanting to purchase a business that maybe doesn't have a strong brand recognition, that when they see their logo, they won't be able to say, oh yeah, I've heard of this company. You know, I've heard of this company and all the amazing thing that it's been doing. So branding encompasses that, you know, having a solid image that when people see you, your logo, your story, who you are, they're able to think back and say, okay, I remember this company and this is a company worth hiring. Or if you're exiting and, you know, you're wanting to retire, this is a company worth investing or buying.
Are we so visual too? There, you know, if somebody did a great job for you, like a contractor, and you know you can relate them to their logo. I'm like, oh yeah, they did my roof, they did this, they did that. You start all those things start in your brain start connecting. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember them. Oh, I recognize them. Oh,
it's that first impression. That first impression combined with the experience that they had, it leaves a lasting long-term impression that when they see you again, or when they run across that ad, or when they run across that post, they're like, oh yeah, that's the guy, or that's the girl who does an amazing job at what she does. So yeah, it's important for a lot of business owners to have that strong brand. But then we go back to, how do you explain all of this in a digestible way in Spanish, which is difficult, to a community that maybe might not see the value just yet. Because there's hope. I believe that there's going to continue to be that growth. But right now we're still at the stage where we're trying to tap in and we're wanting to educate to help them, like I said, build a long-term and lasting business.
That's awesome. Why do you, Stephanie, why do you feel it's important for businesses to be consistent in posting, or have somebody like you to consistently show what they're doing with their products all the time on social media, especially in 2025? Why is this so important?
Well, first of all, that's very well worded and very.
Hey, I might be from the hood,
together,
but I could talk.
Well, no, that was like, damn, I want to be a contractor now.
You got a hard head.
I got the martillo and the safety vest in the car.
I know how to use a staple gun.
She does.
Yeah.
Did she build her own stuff, bro? You are a freaking contractor. She built her chicken coop.
Let's talk after. We're gonna start your business, girl.
Beds, like flower bed, the
gardening.
whole thing.
I was like, am I a landscaper?
You're a
it's in my blood.
It's in our blood. That's
but I did grow up with my dad. He I know how to grout tile. I know how to patch a hole. Like, I grew up doing all that.
That's awesome. Not a lot of people are able to do that. I'll be honest, I can't even do that. So I admire you for that.
Yeah.
One of the jokes that I was trying out, and I was still trying it, is like, I'm an engineer. Like, whenever I was in the networking, I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, well, my ancestors were engineers, but you know, it's in the blood.
It's in the blood. Yeah, it's true, man. Yeah, that's really very true.
I was like, I was gonna run with them forever.
Like, we don't pick up the bottle; we pick up a hammer.
Because this sounds so bad, but in networking events, some people, depending on where you're at, a lot of the times when they ask. This is not everybody, so don't come at me. I didn't come up with this. Whenever they ask what you do, a lot of the times it's kind of analyzing whether it's worth speaking with you or not.
Yeah, I hate that question.
So a lot of the times, so I'm like, well, I'm just going to say I'm an engineer, because if I say I'm a banker or whatever, I'll be like, whatever. You know, and I got a little hack for that, so y'all don't even have to ask me that. I know how to ask other questions that I can get people to talk in, and I can kind of sort of get what you're doing.
Yeah.
But that's what I wanted to throw in there. Like, I'm just going to say I'm an engineer and then go from there.
Yeah.
And then start doing the other stuff.
And then they'll be more engaged. Like, oh, ingeniero.
Oh.
If you ever go to a networking event, and I heard it on a podcast, it's just ask anything interesting you're working on. And if they're passionate about you, if I ask you that, you're immediately marketing like, oh yeah, I have
That
this,
is great.
I have a
That's
I have
awesome.
a truck right here in Fort Worth Lake. You know, they toast their dishes amazing. So you're just gonna spill your guts. Same thing for you.
And we often like talking about ourselves, realistically.
Yeah.
So I
and
think
then what you're working on and what you're
yeah.
passionate about.
Yeah.
So that's a great question to ask whenever you're networking too. Instead of that, what did you do? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really like networking events. I mean, like I'll go sometimes.
I keep pushing
but
her to try to go.
No, I do. I just haven't been able to make it.
I met Crispina at the networking event.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a friendship that was formed through the networking.
He's the reason
Oh.
why he joined.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
They cut him a check. Nah, I'm just kidding. And they're like,
I said, hey, right here.
where's my referral bonus? No. I met amazing connections like Crispin, and you're able to, obviously you go in with the mindset of like, how is this going to benefit me? Because realistically, we're not investing a lot of money, but we're investing our time, which is very valuable.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it's always been, who am I going to connect with? And one of the things that I saw recently in a video is like, as long as you walk away making one friend, you've already made an the investment has already been there.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like, I've done a lot of countless pointless meetings and events, and I'm like, it just never goes anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but that's just my mindset, and I can be negative when it comes to that.
I don't know which ones you went to, but some of the ones that I see that I just don't feel too bring a lot is the after hour drinking ones. Because I don't just feel like there's not really professionals. Really,
I just feel like it's let me go somewhere so I can, talk and boast or like boost myself and boost my ego and talk about. It's like, what do you do? But let me just listen so I can go ahead and reply and tell you how much better I am than you.
That's very true.
Especially
that happens.
at women's events. At the women's events, I don't go to any of those.
I've seen that happen, and that just kind of como que te agüita. You're just like, oh man, like bro, I was so excited about telling you about my idea, and they just wanna ask you the questions so they can one up you and be like, but not everywhere.
Not everywhere. Not everywhere. But I'm just
defeat
like
the purpose by just letting them be.
Yeah.
Anything interesting you're working on, and just listen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, some nice.
And once you get that vibe, like, oh, great, I'll see you later. Oh no, on to the next.
So next, I feel like where we met, the Hispanic Chamber, I still always going to praise them because I feel like the energy, the feeling, the welcoming, the everything in general. Whenever you're there, you don't get that feeling, that yucky networking. Sorry. But y'all know it too. Don't be like pretending like you don't get that yucky feeling sometimes. Like, oh, yeah, I am. It doesn't give you that.
It has to do with the people in leadership, I think. And at this Hispanic Chamber that we've attended to, the people that I've seen in leadership, I congratulate them because they've been handpicked by not just their abilities that they have, but a lot of elements of their personality and their characters. I think you walk in and it's just like, it feels like, hey, how's it going, bro? Like, I haven't seen you in a while. Like you kind of feel that connection. And I think, like you said, there's not a lot of chambers or organizations that are centric in that area, but this one is, and I recommend it. 10 out of 10.
Okay,
you feel like fam. I swear.
I mean, I do plan on coming out.
Yeah.
So
not to say
days.
that like throw that fam and you feel like fam, but you really feel like fam. Like you really are like at least minimum. You're sipping on some coffee. You're getting to meet some very interesting people that are like talking about whatever, and not that. Can't wait till I tell you what I did.
Yeah.
I just bought a $1 million home. You're like, bro, I'm still living in an aparport, bro.
That's cool.
Okay, so why is it important for business?
We got sidetracked a little bit.
All the time. Bring it back. That's what I'm here. So why is it important for businesses, specifically in 2025, to be able to consistently post and be seen on social media or wherever?
I mean, I think for me, when I have this conversation with people, it's just very simple. People use social media for everything. People want to see your business. They want something to reference to. It can also be your online resume. Like, this is what I have. This is what I have to give. So you want to be consistent because that shows that you're active. It shows that you are putting in work for your business, and you can promote what it is that you have going internally for your business. And, I think being consistent at anything is important, that you want something to grow and be able to, have fruition from in life. Yeah. So your business is your moneymaker. Why would you not pour into that? Why would you not tell people who you are, and we don't have the yellow books anymore. Like, that's right. You want to stand out because everybody's on social media too. So you want to be able to contribute and bring things to the table that, makes you different from the rest.
That is a yellow book these days. That is
Yeah,
it. That
yeah,
is
yeah.
your resume. That is your
Spot on, the portfolio. That's your resume, your portfolio. That's what shows if you are who you say you are and if you're good as you say you are.
Yeah.
All right, so we're running short on time. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Do you have any final thoughts at all whatsoever? Anything?
I'll let you go first.
No.
Nothing?
No, I really don't. I just want to thank you for the opportunity. And if you guys aren't familiar with who we are, lock in, follow us on social media.
So before we let you go, social media, where can they find you at? Where can they find your businesses that you're helping out to? Again, free plug.
My personal is Stephanie.Joanette. Touch of Toast is a delicious food truck in Northlake, Texas. Chantel's Liquor is a liquor store in Fort Worth, family-owned business. And then if you're on a keto diet, I also do Keto Air. It's a breathalyzer device that we are about to launch in Europe. And it helps you stay on track with your ketones. And it's 99.9% accurate, FDA approved. So,
Nice. All her information is going to be on the description, so you can lock in with her.
And you can find me on, name of my business is Hispanos Marketing Group. You can find me on social media. It's Chris Rocha, ITS, Chris Rocha. And pretty much you'll see, if you follow me on social media, we're putting together free classes, workshops for the Hispanic community. Oftentimes they're Spanish, but we can do English. I have a workshop. I actually got a venue in Garland to host an in-person workshop. This would be my first one as far as I did the logistics. I got the venue. I've done a lot of great partnerships, like with Catholic Charities of Dallas and other chambers of commerce. But there's nothing like doing it on your own. So I'm really, really excited about it.
What is the date?
It's going to be June 7th. Nice. Yeah, I don't even know the date. No. I'll post it on my socials, but it's June 7th is the first Saturday of June. So I'll post
it's a
more.
Live event or Zoom?
In person. It's going to be in person. Anybody's welcome. We're segmenting it.
Español.
En español, completamente en español.
Ahora dilo en español.
I know, right? I'm over here doing it in English. Los invitamos el día sábado 7 de junio. Vamos a tener una clase en persona sobre los fundamentos de marketing y de igual manera vamos a conectarte con personas en las industrias o expertos en varios temas para que puedas tener ese conocimiento en cómo crecer y cómo mantener una empresa sostenible a largo plazo. Sí sé, soy sí sabo.
Sí sabe.
Sí sabo.
Shout out to the no sabo kids. I feel for y'all, man. Y'all get y'all need a lot of flag, but it's not their fault. I blame the parents. All right, so if you're one of those, I mean, I'm just saying.
Shots.
Okay, so once again, thank you so much.
My
turn. My name is Crispin Valentin. You can find me on all social media. I'm a MC. I do this podcast, beautiful podcast that I created 4 years ago. I celebrated 4 years in May 5th. And we continue to run. I feel amazing to be able to showcase amazing individuals doing amazing things in the community itself, and more to come. So please make sure you follow the Global Latin Factor podcast, La Neta Que Conecta. And make sure that you subscribe to the channel so you do not miss a single second, because you're going to get all this beautiful, great content that we're putting out. And again, I'm going to put the shirt link. Bree has a shirt too. I'm going to have all the merch right there so you can get a shirt and support, and more shirts to come.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We have a couple
Product de la
ideas.
tanda.
Y un aplauso para Crispin.
Yay!
Gracias. Until
Appreciate
next
it, bro.
time. Bye.